Hey boys, what's going on? iJustRengar here, and I just recorded this entire, what was 20-minute long video, and then realized that I was recording the screen under my game instead of my game, so feels bad, man. But anyways, guys, welcome to this game, 18-2-5 as Rengar in the jungle, versus a D1 Taliyah jungler, who's also a Kindred abuser. But anyways, I'm going to take you through this game, what I did, what I didn't do, what I messed up on, and what I did well with, and kind of just break down for you how to get ahead as Rengar, and how to kind of play a high-tempo game once you get into the mid-game and really start abusing your ultimate. So, to start off, my team is going to go for an invade. So the very first thing that I do is call out an invade. Just so you guys know, I'm also duoed with the Thresh, so we have some pretty good communication. So that's the reason why we do have good communication. So I call out an invade, and I know that this is generally going to work because we do have everybody here. Aatrox is pretty good at the early 1v, like early team fights, and Thresh is amazing at early team fights, whereas Sona, not so much. So that works out really well for me. I end up getting a longsword, and I end up getting my Dark Harvest stack and my Bone Tooth stack. So overall, really, really, really good play there. And it's going to give me a nice lead going into this game. So what's going through my mind right now, after we get that lead, is that, okay, so I know that my bot lane is pretty strong right now, especially against the Sona, because she's low health with Thresh. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for my red buff. And the reason why is because I know that my bot lane down here will have a good chance of killing her, and I also know that it might surprise the enemies. So what ends up happening is Sion wards this bush, which is kind of annoying, and Aatrox sees it. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to wait as long as I can before I leap to the red buff. That way they're still caught like a little bit off guard. So anyways, I'm going to speed through this really quickly, and I'm going to kind of go through my thought process while I'm doing it. So right here, I take that, and I take my chickens, and right now I'm basically just thinking, okay, I'm just going to clear this, and then I might try to go and steal her blue buff. I might try to 1v1 her there because I probably can. So what ends up happening is I'm just clearing this really quickly. And I'm like, alright, so the next thing that I'm going to go for is just the Scuttle Crab. And then I see Taliyah. When you see the enemy jungler show up on the other side of the map, instantly think counter jungle. And that's exactly what's going through my mind. And the reason why is because when you see the enemy jungler on like another side of the map, that means that you're basically free to do whatever you want to her jungle. So what we do is we also check tab, okay? And the reason why is because we want to see how much CS she has. So we see that Taliyah has the 4 minion kills right now, which means that she's taken 1 camp. She had red buff, which means she took red. Because of that, I know that her probable path, since she headed up, is to take this Rift Scuttler, then to take probably my blue buff, because she most likely knows that I'm going into her topside jungle. Because generally in higher elo, and this is a D1 Taliyah, generally in higher elo, junglers will know that the enemy jungler is going to be taking their stuff. So right here, I'm going to take this, I'm going to go and I'm going to take her Gromp, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to take her Wolves. And my philosophy with counter jungling like this, when I know that they're in my jungle, is that I'm going to take everything, because if they don't take everything, I win the trade. And I'm actually going to full clear everything, and the reason why... okay, by the way, she shows up here, so instantly I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just smite this, and I'm just going to run right over and see if I can get anything. So Taliyah has 12 CS. I know that she has blue buff, and I know that she probably killed this, which means the next camp she's going to go for is most likely the chickens. So right now, I'm going to keep my keep my ferocity strong, and I'm actually going to head towards mid lane. So I'm going to run over towards mid lane, and I'm going to use my Q a little bit late and accidentally use the regular one. But I'm like, alright, sweet. I'll level up off of this, and I can actually chase her. Now, the reason I feel like I can chase her is because Taliyah was still level 2 when I just saw her. And I know for a fact now that she's here. Not because of that, because I didn't see that, but because of this. If this is here, and she started at a red, her Scuttle, and then my blue buff, then there's no reason for this to be here unless she's clearing the camp. Since she's already clearing it, I know she's preoccupied with something, so if Ahri comes over right away, we should be able to win the 2v2. So luckily, Ahri does eventually start running over. So I'm going to head back a little bit. I empowered E her, and then I leap to her. I take a lot of damage doing that leap, but we are able to kill her, which is really, really nice. And then I head back. I try to get the empowered W off after my Q, but I'm not able to, sadly. And she ends up living, surprisingly. But anyways, we end up getting the Sona Ignite out, we get the Irelia Flash, and we are able to kind of get out of there, which is really, really nice for us. What we're going to do now is we're going to back, and we're going to be able to purchase our Tiamat, which is pretty good for us. So I'm going to speed this up really quick, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing right now is efficient clearing. I'm going to my bot side, then I'm going to my wolves, then I'm going to my chickens, then I'm going to my golems. The reason I did it like this is because I know my chickens are going to respawn, because I check tab really quick and I see, okay, my red buff's spawning at 230. or my red buff's spawning in 2:30, that means my chickens are going to spawn in 15 seconds. And that's a really easy way to keep track of timers. So, like, if I want to know when her Gromp is up, I'll check my tab and I'll say, okay, I took her blue buff and then I took her Gromp right after. Her blue is up in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That means her Gromp's going to be up in probably roughly 10 to 15 seconds. And that's a really easy way to keep timers without typing anything in chat. Although I do recommend using timestamps and typing in chat if you can do that. So right here, I know that her camp's not going to be up for a little while longer. So I run over and I head to my golems. So while I'm doing this, I end up just taking these really quick. And then something interesting happens bot lane. And we end up seeing Taliyah go down there. So luckily they end up getting a kill, which is crazy. But since we see Taliyah down there, and since we still see her backing on that ward, I'm like, okay, I can go and just steal her topside jungle again. Which is massive, because when you counter jungle, you're not only giving yourself gold, you're also taking away gold from the enemy jungler, which is absolutely insane. Because, like, imagine you're getting, like, 300 gold from a kill, but imagine, like, instead of... they were going to have that 300 gold. Imagine they had the 300 gold in their inventory. You take it away and you give it to yourself. It makes the gold differential so much bigger. And that's why counter jungling is so important. And that's also why I am literally double her CS right now, which is massive. So anyways, we're going to just clear our own jungle now. And right now, basically what I'm thinking in my head is, okay, I can back, I can buy a Dirk, give myself a nice advantage. There's nothing for me to clear except for my Gromp. So if I back and then run straight to my Gromp, I can go for another efficient clear, or I can gank somewhere. So right now, I'm thinking in my head, do I want to gank mid, or do I want to gank bot? And I'm thinking, okay, so Taliyah's mid, Irelia is really low, so she's probably going to back anyways, so there's probably not too much for me to get mid. If I had my flash, I might, but it's also a good idea to go bot because I'm duoed with the Thresh. So I end up running towards the bot lane. I just use my ulti straight off because I know that I can do quite a bit of damage. And I go on the Sona first. The reason why I go on Sona first is because I honestly thought he was higher health. And on top of that, if I don't want her to, like, level up in a fight or heal, like, 3 or 4 times during a fight. Because that would be devastating if she got, like, just a ton of heals off onto Kai'Sa, and then Kai'Sa can kill us all. So I jump onto her, and I also know that can reset my Dark Harvest really quickly. And then we're able to kill the Kai'Sa as well. Sadly, I don't get her as a stack because I didn't attack her within 1.5 seconds, which is unlucky. But anyways, from right here, I'm like, okay, let's take the Infernal Dragon, because Rengar can really easily solo Infernal. Quick tip for soloing Infernal as Rengar, if you run into this bush and you leap onto it, you can actually get free ferocity. Now, keep in mind, the reason I didn't attack it right there is because I didn't want them to think I was doing it. A lot of this kind of revolves around misdirection, so I say, okay, they'll know that I'm doing it if I, like, make it too obvious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look like I'm walking away, and then I'm just going to head back and do it. And you can see that none of them are pinging it because none of them really think that I'm doing it, which is really nice because that means that they're not going to roam in, like, a 3-man goon squad and kill me. So anyways, we're able to pick this up, and Thresh pings for a play mid. So I'm like, alright, you know what, Thresh? I believe in you, buddy. So we head over towards mid lane. She, very unluckily, decides to go over and ward. And we are able to very easily end up killing her at the mid lane. It goes to Thresh, but that's fine. And right here, I'm pushing the wave. Always try to help your laners push the wave after a kill unless they ping you off because they're, like, trying to freeze or something. It's up to you whether you give them CS or not. Generally, I'll try to give them some CS, but at this stage where I have Tiamat, I was kind of like, you know, I'm just going to take it and then... I mean, I'm just going to do what I can. Whatever she gets. Whatever I get. You know what I mean? So, but it's really up to you. So right now, what I'm going to do is... look at this. Guess this. I'm going to... what am I saying, dude? Efficiently clear. Holy... that took me way too long. I'm going to efficiently clear my jungle. And the reason why is because even though I'm ahead right now, I want to stay ahead. And the way to stay ahead is to efficiently clear. Obviously, the reason being because then you know that you're not wasting any time. So I go for an efficient clear here. And I then see, okay, there's 2 places I can gank. I can gank bot lane or I can gank mid. Bot lane, there were 3 of them there. And I'm not 100% sure on Kai'Sa's ulti, like if it's up or not, which it looks like it is up. So I'm like, alright, I really don't want to try to go for that right now. So instead I'm going to go for mid lane. I know that I should be able to kill her, because she's really low. So despite the fact that she gives herself 50% damage reduction, I can still pretty easily take her down, which I do. So I'm able to go mid and grab a quick kill onto Irelia, which helps out quite a bit, especially because we got her flash. That's really important. The reason why it's important is because now I know that her flash is down, and in future plays, I can basically say, okay, she has no flash, I can do this, even though it's super risky, and it's a lot easier to gank her when I know her flash is down. Anyways, from here, I'm like, alright, I just want to back. However, Thresh says, hey, come with us, we can probably get something. So I follow, and Sona gets a good ulti off. So, not to be discouraged, I decide just to go and head back, and I should be able to purchase my Duskblade. So now that I have Duskblade, I know 100% of the time whether I'm seen or not. Because of this, I'm like, alright, I'm going to try to go over here and invade, and I end up seeing her fighting the Ahri, and I kind of steal the kill there. I'm sorry, Ahri, I apologize. What I'm doing now is I'm going for a counter jungle, right? But what you want to do, really, in the jungle, like, let's, like, put, like, a little hierarchy on things. There's farming your own jungle. There's counter jungling. There's ganking and, like, getting a kill. There's counter ganking. And then counter ganking is tied with getting an objective such as dragon, like if it's like an infernal dragon or an early game ocean dragon. And it's also tied with getting a turret. So getting a turret, counter ganking, and getting a large objective are all pretty much like around the same level, and it really kind of depends on what you need or what you want. So that's just kind of like a little note for you guys. But anyways, right here, I was going to go for the counter jungle, but then I see, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful gank right there, and ganks are much more important than counter jungles. So I run over here, and I'm able to kill them despite the fact that they just healed. So that ends up being really, really nice for me. So what's going to happen now is going to be a very, very nice set of high-tempo plays that's going to basically solidify the win that we're going to have this game. So, and this is what really, like, leads to me being 18-2. So, what I do now is I'm keeping track of their death timers. So I know that Taliyah just respawned, and I know that she's going to probably want to go to her bot side jungle to take a red buff, because a red's an important buff. So I say, okay, where's she going to come from? She's either going to come from here or down here. And I'm assuming right here, mainly because her passive kind of works better, like, going through like this area, although the same could be said with riding along this wall. Then she has to walk up all that way. So I'm assuming that she's going to go this way. That way she can kind of go from here to here and not lose her passive, and then run over to there and like kind of get it for free. So I say, okay, I'm going to head down this way. And if she does go this way, I have it warded right here so I can just run up and kill her. So I run down this way, and I see her, and I'm able to get a very, very quick kill because I have Dark Harvest. Now at this point, we see her there, and rather than going away, I know my damage limits. I know that she's right now 2-2, and she doesn't have a full Triforce yet, and she doesn't have any armor. So I say, no, you know what, I'm going to go in. So I run over here, I jump onto her, I get stunned, but I'm able to get the kill. And the reason why is because I know my limits. Now, a lot of people right now, like, what would you guys do right now? Exactly. You'd go bot lane. No, but, like, what I'm thinking is, okay, so I killed them, like 45 seconds ago, 50 seconds ago. So I know that they're going to be going for bot lane in just a second. So I ward over and I leap to that. That way I can get there a little bit faster. And then I run over here. And exactly like I thought, we see the Sona. And then as soon as I'm done killing her, I instantly turn onto the Kai'Sa. And from there, I'm able to leap onto the Kai'Sa and kill the Kai'Sa. Now, keep in mind, I only really have the Duskblade and the Tiamat at this point. Like, I'm still not, like, hyper fed, but I am pretty fed at this point, obviously, because, you know, I'm doing very well. But, like, right now, I just turned what would have been a kill onto Taliyah into a kill on Taliyah and a kill onto Irelia, into a kill on Taliyah, a kill on Irelia, and a kill on their bot lane. Which is massive. That's huge. That's 4 kills. If you count the 2 kills down here, that's 6 kills in the space of about a minute and a half that I got that I wouldn't have got unless I basically played at this high tempo and basically kept trying to go for these kills. So right now, I go a little bit too hard, and eventually you do want to back. Like right now I have like 3,000 gold. At this point I kind of do want to back, but I know that I can probably still kill one. Probably 2 actually. But what ends up happening is I do mess up, and you guys will see that in just a second. So what I do here, I run over, and I leap to her to try to bait out the Sona ulti. I do. I think that it hits me, so I instinctively W instead of empowered Q. If I empowered Q here, I 100% kill her. She only has 800 health. My empowered Q does like 500 damage. So that followed by another Q would have insta-killed her. But instead, I kind of make a misplay, and I end up going down. Which is feels bad, but in the end, it's not too big of a deal, because at this point, I'm 10-2, and I was just able to afford my Youmuu's Ghostblade, which is obviously a pretty massive item for Rengar. So anyways, what I'm going to do now is, you guessed it, efficiently farm. If my camps are all up, and I don't know exactly what I can counter jungle, I'm always going to want to efficiently farm, because it works out really well. Now, the times that I'm going to break my efficient farm path are for objectives, or counter jungling, or a counter gank or gank. And right now, I can see that there's an objective up, so I'm going to break my normally efficient clear. By the way, notice how I use my E to maintain ferocity, and then I auto-attack that to maintain ferocity. So I'm going to run my way down to this dragon, and then I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to go right back to my efficient clear path, because I don't really see anybody that I can pick. So at this point, I just head back to here, and I go back to my efficient clearing path, which is exactly what I wanted to do in the first place, except now we're doing it with a free dragon added onto that. So anyways, we're able to take that out pretty easily. And at this point, with Rengar, if you play it the way that I play it, you'll have Relentless Hunter, and at this point in the game, you'll have Youmu's. At this point, you can cross the map with your ultimate in like 20 seconds. It's actually insane. So I know how far I can run with my ultimate, and because of that, when I start to see bot lane, I'm looking and I'm like, okay, so Sion, I probably could dive him and kill him, but I also see a play starting to happen top lane. And I was going to dive him and kill him, but then I start seeing this happen top lane, and I see a bunch of them congregating around there. So I immediately start running up. I use my empowered ability for ferocity, and then I use my ulti early, that way I don't get spotted by these minions over here, or any wards that they could have along the way. And if I do get spotted, I'll know. So I start running up this way, and I see that they're, like, really, like, it could kind of go either way. Ahri probably isn't going to be able to get anything, but then I come in from the side and I'm able to kill them. Notice how I leap to the minion. Always use minions and wards to leap to if you have the opportunity. But anyways, we go over and we're able to kill those guys, which is absolutely massive. And then from here, we can go and just push down their lane, which is exactly what we're going to do. So I push down their lane, and then I counter jungle what I can, because it's always a good idea to steal whatever you can from the enemies. So I was going to go back, and then I realized that there's an objective. I know that this is up, so I say, okay, if I start taking that, yes, I can 1v1, or probably 1v2 anybody, but if they send 3 people over and I'm taking the Rift Herald without my ulti up, I know that if I go for this and they send 3 people, there's a strong possibility that I could die or have to waste summoners. So instead, what I do is I run over here, and then I just pop over the wall, and I know that I can solo it super easily. The reason that I do that is just that way they don't come over and goon squad me, and I know that I'm going to be safe because of Duskblade. I just know that they can't see me. If they do come over, it's just kind of unlucky, but I can also have Thresh come over and lantern me if need be. We're able to pick this up really quickly, and from here, I just head back, and I'm able to purchase my Edge of Night, which again, really, really massive item. So right here is when the game has spiraled to the point where I basically am really, really fed. My team is doing really well. And at this point, the game is pretty much over. So I end up going mid, killing the Sona. I was trying to kill the Kai'Sa, but she kind of died. And then killing the Sion right after that. So with an ace down on the enemy team, we just end up pushing mid. I completely forget to use Rift Herald, but realistically, unless we wanted to push Nexus turrets, we don't need a Rift Herald here, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. But anyways, moving over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and after that, I ask myself, what can I take from her jungle? And I know that her blue buff is coming up, so I just run straight up to there, and I'm like, alright, yeah, I'm going for that. So, sadly, Taliyah's thinking the same thing, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to go grab my blue buff. Now, the problem with that is that I'm already here, and she doesn't know that. So I just leap onto her, and I get a free kill. And the reason why is just because she got greedy for it, and she wanted to take it before anybody else could. But I was already, like, the more greedy person, and I was like, alright, yeah, I'm going to go and I'm going to steal something. So right now I ulti, and I ulti because I know that I can pretty much one-shot anybody on their team. So as long as I can, like, kind of get a gist of where they are, I can kill them. So I see Sion first, and I'm like, nah. I see Sona, and I'm like, nah. And then I'm like, okay, where's Kai'Sa and Irelia? Because they were over here earlier. I know that they're probably not here, and I know that they're probably, like, not over here. And the reason why is because there's nothing for them to do here. Like, there's minion camps if they go here or here. There's Aatrox if they're going to run down here. So I'm like, okay, the most logical place for them to go is down to bot lane. So I start running down to bot lane, and what do you know? I find myself a beautiful Kai'Sa. So I see Kai'Sa, and I start running down. She ends up going over the wall, so I follow her. I chase her down. She uses Zhonya's, and I'm able to really quickly kill her. So the Irelia goes down, and then I start heading down. What I'm going to do here, by the way, basic misdirection, like with your flashes, Rengar, chase somebody else, or like kind of look like you're not going towards them, and then flash onto them in flash onto them in QW is what I did there. And that just works pretty well because it's a little bit of a way to kind of trick them out and make them come a little bit closer to you than they should. And it worked out pretty well for me. So I'm pretty happy about that. But anyways, we're able to get that turret. We send down the Rift Herald. I start heading back, and my team basically just ends up finishing the game. So anyways, guys, if you learned something from this video, I really hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you'll leave me a comment below, tell me what I can improve on, tell me what you guys liked about it and what you didn't like. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys coming, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. Alrighty, bye.